This is my experience with S-ranking every boss in Cuphead. But I have one rule set for myself. I can't use any DLC weapons or charms for bosses not in the DLC. I made this rule for myself because I thought it'd be too easy getting S-ranked with Heart Ring or Chalice, and I want a bit of a challenge. I allowed myself all charms and weapons for DLC content because I think most of the DLC bosses are significantly harder than some of the hardest bosses in the base game, and I have way less experience with the DLC than I do with the base game. One other thing I would like to mention is I have S-ranked some bosses already while playing through the game on Extra Mode for the first time. Those bosses being Gloopy the Grand, the Rupak, Captain Brinybeard, and Glumstone the Giant. I'm going to S-rank these again just for the sake of the video. With that being said, let's get into the video. So starting off with Gloopy, and I would like to say I beat him first try and moved on. But on the first attempt, I just ran into him. On the second attempt, I beat the boss, but forgot to use my cards. And on the third and fourth attempt, I took stupid damage. But on the fifth attempt, I got the S rank. Okay, that should be the S rank. Yeah, okay. Moving on to the Rupak. I have nothing really to say about this boss, but... Alright. Ruby and Croaks were the first boss that caused me a bit of trouble, mainly due to the parry requirements and getting lucky in the final phase. I found myself taking a lot of damage in the first phase trying to get parries, and when I did pass the first phase, I would take damage to a bad attack in the third phase. Oh, it's over. I was worried about meeting the time requirement. On some runs, I would fail to beat the boss in time, and then I got a run that unfortunately went over 2 minutes, but something strange happened. By 1 second. Wow. Okay. Oh, I still got an S rank though. What? So yeah, I got the S rank. I thought the time requirement was 2 minutes because the time goes yellow when you're under 2 minutes. But apparently, according to other people on the internet, the time limit is around 2 minutes 10. I did not know this, so that's good to know. Moving on to the next boss. Hildebrand wasn't too hard and didn't take too long. A strategy I used was I kept her drones alive in case they would shoot a parryable. I noticed that a drone would always appear at the start of the Gemini phase and would always shoot a parryable bullet. I used this to my advantage and made sure the drone was alive and would shoot in a place that I could safely parry the bullet. Every time I got to the final phase, this silly bug would occur. Yeah, are you alright? Okay. The final phase was the only phase I found difficult and died twice in the final phase, but overall, Hildebrand was pretty easy. Moving on to Cagney, I got through him pretty quickly. The only thing I struggled with was parrying the seeds, but once I met the parry requirement, it was easy and I got the S rank. That brings us on to Inkwell Isle II, where I first fought Beppy the Clown. At the start, I would find myself taking a lot of damage to the balloon dogs in the second phase, because I was trying to get parries and was worrying about missing my 3 parries. For some reason, I completely forgot to just parry the nose on the train and easily get my 3 parries. I had a strategy for the phases. For the first phase, I would save up cards. For the second phase, I would use all these cards on spread X's, which would do big damage. For the third phase, I would try and get under the horse. If there was no train, I would use spread. In the final phase, I would use my super as soon as the penguins start throwing balls at me. With the crazy damage of spread, the boss should be finished before he can spit out more penguins. I had one run that I completely sold. Now the train couldn't yet. Oh! But it was fine, because I got the S rank shortly after. Please, I just want to hear the knockout scream. Please, please, thank you. Oh yeah, we were really early on time. That brings us on to Jimmy the Great, and I was thinking he would be a very difficult boss and take a lot of time, but surprisingly, with a bit of skill and maybe some luck, I S-ranked him first try. So I have nothing really to say about him. First try? Really? Wow, first try. Baroness von Bonbon was very similar to Jimmy the Great, in that it didn't take a lot of time and only took 3 attempts. The boss is easy, and the parry requirement is also easy since you can parry the big mint in the final phase, and it counts towards the parry requirement for an S rank. Jimmy and Baroness were both very easy. The same can't be said for the next boss. Wally Warbles was so difficult for me because there was no strategy that could easily get me through a difficult phase consistently, like my strategy for Beppy the Clown's final phase. As well as that, he's just a hard boss, man. The shot speed of his projectiles in the first phase are extremely fast. In the third phase, his balls make it really difficult to hit him, and the phase feels like it takes an eternity. Then you have to do his hardest phase, where he just clutters the screen with projectiles. His final phase killed a lot of my S ranks. This boss was a massive change from all the other bosses I fought, and took significantly longer to beat than the rest. I slowly started to go insane from fighting this boss, to be honest. Don't go left, don't go left, don't go left, don't go left. Screw you.
It literally took me like first try to talk to that.
Why me? Why me? Sorry, I was doing my impression of Wally Warbles in second phase. I was extremely happy when I S-ranked him, and I would love to show you, but me being stupid, I ended the recording to check if my recording quality was good, because I had problems with OBS at the time. And then I forgot to start recording again, so my bad. I wasn't recording the entire time.
Uh-oh.
This means I don't have footage for the Wally Warbles S rank, and I have no footage for Grim Matchstick, and a bit of footage for Rumor Honey Bottoms is gone, but not a lot of it. With that being said, it's obviously more difficult to find something to say about Grim Matchstick. The parry requirement was quite hard to get, and I remember I had to keep resetting until Grim started with the ring attack. I did this because otherwise he would exit the phase before he did the rings twice, and he usually only shoots 2 parryable rings when he does the ring attack, rarely 3. Other than that, there was no other strategies I used, it was just playing the game and not getting hit. I also remembered there was one run where I did everything for an S rank, except I forgot to use my cards again. And don't worry, I'm gonna do that again. So, I was recording footage for Grim Matchstick for the video, and when I was recording footage, I actually S-ranked him again, so, yay.
Abyssal Warrior, Abysmal Doctrine.
Anyway, I got an S rank, so I guess I'll just include that in the video.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Just did it again, just
Yeah.
to do it.
For Rumor Honey Bottoms, I honestly found the first phase the most difficult, or at least it's where I took the most hits. It was mainly because I was being too aggressive and focusing more on damage than avoiding hits. And I wanted to at least get 1 parry in that phase, so I didn't have to be too worried about getting all 3 parries later. I liked to use my invincibility at spread when she used the rocket attack because it did good damage and she stayed on the screen for a long time. For the first phase, I tried to stay a bit above the security bee at all times, because not doing so could result in him cornering you or not being able to move around him if the platforms are not in your favor. Please move. Please move. I also learned that the bombs he places don't do contact damage. I don't really know how to transition into the S rank, so here's the S rank. Alright, that's gotta be an S rank, really. Yes, okay, good. Alright. Dr. Cal was a boss I think was on the same difficulty as Wally Warbles, but unlike Wally, all the difficulty is just in one phase, that phase being the final phase. I don't find the first or second phase hard because I had a pretty consistent strategy for the first phase, and for phase 2, it's just easy. For my phase 1 strategy, the first thing I would do is immediately go for the laser, because then I would be able to take it down before it even gets to shoot a single shot. Once the laser is down, I'll parry the gate and attack either of the 2 parts of the robot that's left. My super will be ready and I would use it to take down both remaining parts and open the heart. The heart should go down fairly quickly, but I prioritize taking down the bombs he shoots out over damaging his heart. With this strategy, I would be easily able to make it to the 3rd phase without getting hit. But the problem was the 3rd phase. I would try to stay away from Dr. Cal to make avoiding the bullets easier, but when I did that, a wall would get in my way and I would get hit. This forced me to stay somewhat close to him, so that the wall wouldn't cut too much of the screen, and I would be safely able to move around it. After a while of constantly taking hits to the final phase, I decided to try playing the game on keyboard to see if that would help. Before this, I'd never played on keyboard, and I thought I would play well because a lot of other games I played that involved dodging bullets I'd played on keyboard, and it seemed to have helped because shortly after changing my keybinds, I managed to get the S rank. Cool. Okay. Moving on to the second playing boss in Inkwell Isle I, Calamaria, who didn't take half as long as Dr. Cal. I was already warmed up from fighting one of the hardest bosses in the game, so Calamaria wasn't much of a problem and I got through it fairly quickly. I switched back to controller so I didn't have to spam my keyboard when I got petrified, even though my wrists were already cut. For strategies I used or things I did, I spammed regular X attacks in the second phase to minimize the amount of bullets on screen and the chance of me getting hit when I couldn't move. I'm aware of the trick you can do where you stay close to a phase to avoid being petrified in the third phase, but I suck at it, so I prefer just playing the final phase normally, and yeah, it results in taking hits from not being able to move, but with a bit of luck, I got the S rank. Okay. Did I get the parry requirements? Oh, okay, thank god. I would have cried if I didn't get that. Moving on to the next boss, the Phantom Express. On my very first attempt, I got pretty close to an S rank, only messing up at the end. Shortly after, I had another attempt where I got hit by one of the fireballs that were shot out directly on top of me. Parry, like, give me a parry.
I think he's gonna...
He shot a fire on top of me. Like, right on top of me.
That sounds like so sad.
Right on the heart. I wasn't sure if I wanted to run roundabout for clearing eyeballs in the first phase, and spread for more damage and better invincibility value, or charge for more consistent, reliable damage and not having to be in the boss's face all the time. In the end, I used roundabout charge because I found it difficult to be always close to the boss. When I was fighting the boss, I was on call with a friend, so I wasn't very focused and was taking a lot of stupid hits. And we also had some very deep, serious, thought-provoking conversations that I would like to share with you.
Name one thing that's morally wrong. Spending money on Reddit.
Spending money on Adobe products.
So true.
I don't think I'm gonna include this in the YouTube video. This gets got sued by Adobe.
Recording?
Yeah, I'm recording right now. This is all for content. The only reason I'm being entertaining and not just dry and boring is for content.
I see, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, you know, all the time I'm just like this dry, boring person who like has no friends. I'm actually just pretending to be friends with you just like for content.
That makes sense, honestly. I don't blame you.
This has been my plan ever since the start.
I'm about to win! I'm about to win! Yo, is that the Island Boys?
Who? What? Oh my...
Do you not know who the Island Boys are?
I do!
Okay.
They're like these really annoying guys. They're the guys from Seafood. They're the guys from Seafood, you know, like... My super ran out.
Yes.
You're the guys from Seafood.
Seafood.
Like, how the fuck you get in here? You're those guys? Do you like drink olive oil? Like, genuine question. Do you like drink olive oil?
Olive oil disgusting.
What? Why?
Doesn't taste like anything. It literally just tastes like nothing.
It tastes like olive oil, bro.
Olive oil has no taste.
It does. It literally does. It has like a subtle taste.
Of what? Oil?
Of olive! And oil!
No, there's no taste in olive oil.
There is, bro. You're just not sophisticated enough to. Your taste buds just aren't like.
My palate is not refined.
Yeah.
You're such a poor boy. You can't even taste the difference in oil. Okay, drink crude oil. See how you like that? Where the rose?
Where's the rose at? Like idiot.
There it is. Wait,
it's a very creative boss, but not just is it annoying and hard and tedious. It's also gonna cost you your S rank with time, but apparently time just doesn't matter for me. Like,
bro, it's just you got that what's it called? I don't know. Screw you, man.
Mugman and Chalice.
So true, but also like, you know what's better than that? Well, Cuphead and his pal, they like to roll the dice. Just make a game and make a prize. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. I still managed to get the S rank through all the blibber blabber yibber yabber.
Right here.
Who do you think I am, bro?
The goat?
Yeah, I am the goat, because I just S ranked him right there and then.
That's crazy.
The next boss I fought was Sally Stageblade. She was a very frustrating boss to fight because I struggled to meet the parry requirement a lot of the time. She would only give 2 kisses in the first phase, which meant I had to parry one of the roses in the final phase. You would think that wouldn't be too hard, but it was. I was so bad at parrying the rose, I was never able to set myself up to parry it, even though it literally shows where the rose will land in the foreground. I think it was hard because I was also trying to avoid the umbrella while getting into position to parry the rose. Luckily the boss herself wasn't too hard. I did take a few hits when she was falling down in the first phase. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me.
I've seen multiple.
I don't understand! When I was writing the script, I remembered that if you activated the secret, the nuns in the second phase could throw parryable rulers. I thought this might have been a better way to get the S rank, and would solve the rose problem. It didn't. When I was recording the footage to show the secret and try it out for myself, I would always be on 1 HP going into the second phase because I would always take a hit standing on each baby. I literally had to switch to Chalice just to get the footage of the whole boss. So, in conclusion, the secret was not the solution to the problem. When I got the S rank, I didn't know about the time requirement being 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So, I was very confused when I got it. I don't think... Because this stupid... Oh, I don't think I was on time. I don't think I was on time. No.
If you don't get it on time, I'm going to cry. I'm telling you right now. Yikes.
Bro.
Now that's poop cock.
I'm gonna go through these 2 next bosses pretty quickly because there's not a lot to be said about them. For Verna Vermin, Spread is a very powerful weapon, especially for the second and third phase since you're always close to him. Unlike Sally, the parry requirement was very easy. You could get all 3 parries in the first phase if you tried, but even if you didn't, you could easily get the rest in the third phase. The only problem I guess you could say I had in the final phase was I kept forgetting the balls the ghost threw would split after they hit the floor, so I took a few hits there.
Did you S rank it? Really? Wait, that was easy.
Yeah, no, Vermin is like really easy. I love Vermin, he's such a good fight. For Briny Beard, I actually fought him after I S-ranked the devil because I forgot to do him with all the other bosses in Inkwell 3. But he was also very easy, and the hits I took from him were just because I was playing too aggressive and risky, because I was really just wanted to move on to the DLC bosses that day. For the final phase, I did that trick where you can crouch under this like certain spot, and when the barrel crosses you just dash, and the final phase is free then. And yeah, that's it. Very good. Okay. It wasn't bad. Didn't take too long. That brings us on to the final 2 bosses of the main game, King Dice and the Devil. For King Dice, I'd reset if the heart was on 9 because the monkey boss sucks and he takes forever to kill. King Dice actually only took 3 attempts, which is less than Goopy who took 5, which I find really funny. I don't really find much of the mini bosses that hard, plus being able to take 3 hits if I get all hearts makes the entire fight not that scary. It's just King Dice that messed up both my attempts before I got the S rank.
Yo, don't fuck it up.
Thanks.
Mr. White can bear my children.
I don't think that's wise. No! Let's not die! Okay, we're fine.
You're fine. There you go.
We're fine.
Easy S rank.
Yeah. Right? Right? Yeah.
Oh.
Easy S rank. Moving on to the Devil. I found his first phase easy to be the hardest phases of them all because I took the vast majority of my hits there. In total, the Devil took 11 attempts to S rank, and 9 of those 11 attempts I took damage in the first phase. I was expecting to take a lot more hits in the third and fourth phase because I never really was confident jumping around the poker chips in the last phase. I guess on that day I was just playing really well because I had no issues with that at all. On the S rank attempt, I kinda did something cool, maybe, I don't know. Show me the S rank. Oh! Yo! That save was actually insane. I deserved the S rank after that. That S rank was so well deserved. That was the craziest save ever. With all the main game bosses done, we move on to the DLC. The first boss I fought in Inkwell Isle I was Glumstone the Giant. I'd already S-ranked him on my first playthrough of the DLC in Extra Mode, but that must have been pure luck because I actually did struggle with him. Luckily, I was now able to use DLC charms because Heartbring absolutely carried me through these S-ranks. It was really nice not having to reset if I got hit, and I was allowed to take a few hits. I really needed it because I was not familiar with the DLC bosses at all compared to the main game. I find the DLC bosses to be a lot more chaotic. I liked using Crackshot for the first phase because it took out the gnomes easily without having to aim, and not getting rid of the gnomes would lead to an overwhelming amount of stuff on the screen. I also thought the bear attack was really hard because it forced you to walk on the ground, but I did find a way to handle that attack. I initially used Crackshot for the second phase too, but I felt it was not doing enough damage because the phase felt super long. I then decided to use Charge for the phase because I think it does more damage. It was really difficult and felt like the longest phase, and that's where I took most hits. Remember when I said I'd forget to use my cards again? Yep, I did it again. Okay, cool. Is that an S rank or did I Miss out on time. Oh, nice. Oh. Oh my god. That's so embarrassing. But luckily, shortly after, I did get the S rank, so it's fine. Okay, we didn't need that one. I did use all my cards this time, so we're gonna get the S rank. Moving on to the Moonshine Mob. When I started this boss, I was terrible at the last phase. I could go from 5 HP going into the last phase to dying. I slowly started to improve on the last phase after a few attempts, and I managed to get a run where I met the HP requirement for an S rank, but missed out on time. I clearly wasn't doing enough damage, so I went from Crackshot in the first phase to Charge, and changed my playstyle to be a bit more aggressive so I could hit all my charge shots. Unfortunately, this didn't completely solve the problem, because I got another run where I failed the boss on time. I think the reason for not beating the boss on time was because I was struggling to hit the boss in the final phase. Knowing the main problem was time, it made me want to play more aggressively, resulting in taking more hits. I was also unsure if his tongue in the final phase counted towards parries for an S rank, so not just was I trying to hit every single charge shot and do as much possible damage, but I was also focusing on getting parries in the first and second phase, because the last thing I wanted to do was miss out on an S rank for something stupid. Luckily, nothing like that ever happened because I got the S rank. There you go. I think I went under 2 minutes. Nice. 1 minute 34. That is a major improvement. Oh my god. After that run, I started to kind of get tilted, and I didn't feel like I was making much valuable progress. So before I did something I'd regret, I took a break and moved on to another boss. That break seemed to help, because only after 4 attempts, I got the S rank. That was a severe lapse in my judgment. Please die. Thank you. I definitely used all my cards there. I parried his tongue. A good amount. Okay, yeah. Okay, there's the S rank. Thank God. Going from a boss that I found quite difficult to a boss that I didn't find as difficult. Esther Winchester was pretty easy and only took 3 attempts. The first 2 attempts I just played bad, and the third was the S rank. I was using Divine Relic, so yeah, that was like insanely OP on playing bosses. Show the S rank. Oh, I'm on 3 HP. Oh, cool. Nice, an S rank. Okay, cool. On to the next boss, we go from 3 attempts to 2 attempts. I literally have nothing to say about this fight. On the first phase, I dodged the bullets. On the second phase, I dodged the bullets. And on the third phase, I tilted my head and dodged the bullets. Show the S rank. That's gotta be an S rank, right? Right? That's an S rank? Nice. Easy S rank. Just because I've got heart ring. We go from one of the easiest bosses to easily the hardest boss I fought. I even predicted it at the start. This boss might be a bit hard though. This one might be harder. When I started fighting this boss, I used Crackshot and Charge, but then I switched from Charge to Spread to see if that would be better. Since you have to be close to the boss using Spread, I was taking a lot of hits, especially in the first phase of the Icicle attack, because I'd be jumping up to hit the boss, and if he did the Icicle attack, an Icicle would hit me before they even landed. This boss was extremely hard, and I could barely even beat the boss, never mind getting an S rank. But I slowly started seeing improvement, and I noticed I was getting way better at dodging the ice cubes in the second phase. I got 2 pretty good runs. One where I beat the boss in 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and just missed the HP requirement by taking a hit right at the end. And another where I missed the time requirement. Only when editing this video, knowing the actual time requirement being 2 minutes 10, I realized how close I was to getting the S rank on the first one. These runs gave me some hope and motivation that I could S rank the boss, but these runs just seemed to be luck, because I went back to just dying to the final phase again. It was clear that the final phase was the main problem, so I started to analyze the final phase closer, to see if there's anything that could help me. After dying to the final phase a few more times, I thought the ice cream cone attack was always the same and would appear and travel in the same path every time. I also thought the eyeball attack would always be the same as well. When editing this video, I wanted to see if I was correct. For the ice cream attack, no, I was wrong. Here are 2 videos of Murderer Freeze doing the cone attack when he's on the left side, overlapped on top of each other. You can see that they are not, in fact, in the same place. As for the eyeball attack, I was kind of correct. The eye may not travel in the same path all the time, but he'll shoot a laser at the exact same time all the time. I can use this to my advantage, and I would dash past the eye after 2 lasers, then again after another 2, which is easier said than done. If it wasn't obvious enough, I really struggled with this boss, and I said, I don't think I'm getting the S rank today. Because this boss is incredibly difficult. What's very funny about what I just said is that on the very next attempt, I got this. Okay. Not bad. Oh my god, thank god. Oh my god. Yes. Now, on to the final boss of the video, Chef Saltbaker. I would have liked to have a really dramatic ending to this journey of getting every S rank and have the final boss to be the hardest challenge out of everything I've done, but nothing could be harder than Mortimer Freeze, not even Saltbaker. This was the build I went for Chef Saltbaker. I used Crackshot in the first phase because I couldn't charge up and aim a shot without getting hit because there's just so much going on, and I think it's the most chaotic phase. For a second phase, I used Charge because you don't really have to focus on aiming. I just shoot the two bottom pepper shakers, primarily focusing on dodging and getting parries. The third phase is an absolute joke because I know that this phase is like a joke. Okay, I'm sorry I said anything. And the fourth phase is about staying calm and not getting too greedy with damage. I used Crackshot in this phase, and only getting 1 or 2 charge shots in if I use Invincibility. I feel like Chef Saltbaker gets easier each phase, so once I make it past the second phase, I feel very confident about getting an S rank. And after 30 or 40 minutes or so of trying, I got my very last S rank. That's gotta be an S rank. Nice. The final S rank. So, you've made it to the end of the video. I'm going off no script here. Well, I have like 2 bullet points. So yeah. First, I would like to thank you, the viewer, for watching. I think that's crazy. Thank you very much for watching. Like, I don't think this video is gonna get like over 1,000 views, to be honest. So if you're one of those people, thank you. Secondly, I would like to thank my friends, or Greg in particular, because I just want to thank you for being in voice chat all the time and kind of motivating me to get this video out. Because honestly, if you weren't in like voice chat all the time, and you know, if you just weren't doing you, I don't even know if this video would be out, to be honest. You were quite a motivating factor for me. And yeah, we had some fun times while I was editing, you know. Some good times, some goofy times. I think that's all I want to say, really. So yeah, thank you.